Have you been told you're too old to qualify for a loan? Or maybe you've avoided applying because you thought the paperwork would be overwhelming. If you're over 65, today's video could completely change the way you think about borrowing money in retirement. Thousands of pensioners are now looking for safe and simple ways to access extra funds for unexpected bills, home repairs, medical expenses, or everyday living costs. But here's the problem: there's so much confusing information online that many people either give up or end up applying for the wrong type of loan. In some cases, they don't even realize there may be options that require far less paperwork than they expected. In this video, we're breaking everything down into 3 simple steps so you can understand how pension-based loan applications typically work, who may be eligible, what lenders usually look for, and the common mistakes that could delay or even prevent an application from being approved. We'll also explain what "no documents needed" really means, because it's often misunderstood and can vary depending on the lender and your circumstances. Whether you're receiving a state pension, a private pension, or another retirement income, you'll learn important information that could save you time, reduce stress, and help you make a more informed financial decision. Be sure to watch until the very end, because we'll also share practical tips that can improve your chances of a smooth application while helping you avoid common scams targeting older adults. If you find this video useful and want more easy-to-understand updates and helpful guides for pensioners, don't forget to like this video. It really helps the channel reach more people who could benefit from this information. Now that we've covered why so many people are talking about pension loans, let's clear up one of the biggest misconceptions straight away. You may have seen advertisements claiming that if you're over 65, you can get a pension loan in just 3 simple steps without any documents. That sounds incredible, doesn't it? But before you believe everything you read online, it's important to understand what those claims actually mean. In many cases, lenders today use digital verification systems that can confirm certain information electronically, which may reduce the amount of paperwork you need to provide. However, requirements vary from lender to lender, and responsible borrowing always starts with understanding exactly what you're signing up for. The first step is knowing whether you could be eligible. Many people assume that once they retire, borrowing money becomes impossible because they no longer receive a regular salary. The reality is that some lenders consider reliable pension income when assessing an application. If you receive a state pension, a workplace pension, or another regular retirement income, that consistent payment may be taken into account. Of course, every lender has its own rules, and approval is never guaranteed. But being retired doesn't automatically mean your options disappear. This is why it's so important not to let fear stop you from exploring legitimate financial products. Every week, thousands of pensioners face unexpected expenses. A boiler suddenly breaks in the middle of winter. A washing machine stops working without warning. Dental treatment or home repairs appear out of nowhere. These situations can place enormous pressure on a fixed retirement income, leaving many people wondering where they can safely turn for help. Making a rushed decision, however, can often create bigger problems than the original expense. That's exactly why understanding the process matters so much. Instead of applying everywhere and damaging your credit profile with multiple applications, it's usually better to understand your choices first. Responsible lenders normally explain their terms clearly, outline the repayment schedule, and make sure applicants understand the total cost before agreeing to anything. If you ever feel pressured to accept a loan immediately, or are promised guaranteed approval without any checks at all, that's a warning sign you should never ignore. The second step is completing the application carefully. Thanks to modern technology, many applications can now be completed online or over the phone without visiting a branch. Some lenders use secure electronic systems to verify identity and income, making the process much quicker than it was years ago. That's one reason people sometimes describe these loans as requiring no documents, even though verification still takes place behind the scenes. It's always worth reading the lender's explanation carefully so you know exactly what information they may need. Another mistake many retirees make is borrowing more than they actually need. Receiving approval for a larger amount may seem tempting, but remember that every pound borrowed usually has to be repaid with interest. Choosing only the amount necessary for your situation can make repayments much easier to manage while protecting your monthly budget. Retirement should be about enjoying greater peace of mind, not creating unnecessary financial pressure that lasts for years. Equally important is comparing more than one lender before making a decision. Interest rates, repayment periods, fees, and eligibility requirements can differ significantly. Spending an extra 30 minutes comparing your options today could save you a substantial amount of money over the life of the loan. Patience often pays off when making financial decisions, especially during retirement when every pound counts. Unfortunately, this is also where scammers become active. Fraudsters know that older adults are often searching online for quick financial solutions. They may create convincing websites, send fake emails, or even call claiming they can guarantee approval if you simply pay an upfront fee. Legitimate lenders generally don't ask for advance payments just to process an application. If anyone requests money before providing the loan, treat it as a serious warning sign and walk away immediately. There's one final step in the process that many people completely overlook, and surprisingly, it's the one that often determines whether borrowing actually improves your financial situation or quietly creates new problems months later. Before you make any decision, you need to understand this final step because it could save you from a very expensive mistake. Before applying for any pension loan, the final step is perhaps the most important one of all, and that's making sure the repayments genuinely fit your budget. It may sound simple, but this is where many people make costly mistakes. When you're living on a fixed retirement income, every monthly payment matters. A loan that looks affordable today could become difficult to manage if your household expenses increase or if an unexpected bill arrives a few months later. That's why it's always worth taking a few extra minutes to calculate exactly how much you can comfortably repay without putting unnecessary pressure on your finances. One helpful approach is to think beyond today's situation. Ask yourself how the repayments would fit into your budget 6 months from now, or even a year from now. Would you still be comfortable making those payments if your energy bills increased, your car needed repairs, or you had to pay for medical treatment? Planning ahead gives you a much clearer picture of whether borrowing is the right decision. A loan should solve a financial problem, not create a new one. Another important point that many people overlook is the total cost of borrowing. It's easy to focus only on the monthly repayment because that's the figure you see most often. But it's equally important to understand how much you'll repay overall by the end of the agreement. Sometimes a lower monthly payment simply means the loan lasts longer, which could increase the total amount of interest you pay. Reading the agreement carefully and asking questions whenever something isn't clear can make a huge difference. If you decide to move forward, make sure you're dealing with a genuine, reputable lender. Take time to verify who you're borrowing from and read the terms carefully before accepting any offer. A trustworthy lender will explain the repayment schedule, any applicable fees, and what happens if you miss a payment. They should never pressure you into making an immediate decision or discourage you from reading the agreement. If something feels rushed or too good to be true, trust your instincts and take a step back. It's also worth remembering that borrowing isn't the only option available. Depending on your circumstances, you may be entitled to benefits, grants, local council support, or other forms of financial assistance that could reduce the amount you need to borrow, or even remove the need for a loan altogether. Exploring every available option before taking on debt is often one of the smartest financial decisions you can make. For many pensioners, talking to a trusted family member or an independent financial advisor before applying can also provide valuable peace of mind. A second opinion may highlight something you've overlooked, or help you compare different options more objectively. Financial decisions don't have to be made alone, and taking a little extra time can prevent unnecessary stress later. Let's quickly recap the 3 simple steps we've discussed today. First, understand whether you may be eligible based on your circumstances and reliable retirement income. Second, complete the application carefully, making sure you understand what information the lender requires and what simplified or paperless verification actually means. Third, and most importantly, check that the repayments fit comfortably within your budget and that you've compared your options before committing to any agreement. The biggest takeaway from today's video is this: don't let flashy advertisements or bold promises make the decision for you. While technology has made applications faster and more convenient, there is no substitute for taking the time to understand the terms, compare lenders, and borrow responsibly. The right financial choice is one that protects your long-term security, not just your short-term needs. If you're watching this because an unexpected expense has appeared, remember that you're not alone. Many retirees face financial challenges from time to time, and seeking accurate information is always the best place to start. By understanding the process and avoiding common mistakes, you'll be in a much stronger position to make a decision that's right for you and your family. One final reminder before we finish: be extremely cautious of anyone claiming that approval is guaranteed, that no checks of any kind are ever required, or that you must pay money up front to receive a loan. These are common warning signs of scams. Genuine lenders follow regulations, explain their products clearly, and give you time to make an informed decision. Protecting yourself from fraud is just as important as finding the right financial solution. I hope today's guide has helped make the process much clearer and given you the confidence to approach pension loans with realistic expectations. The goal isn't simply to borrow money, it's to make a well-informed decision that supports your financial well-being throughout retirement. Every situation is different, so always choose the option that best matches your personal circumstances and never feel pressured into acting before you're ready. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you found this video helpful, please take a second to like the video, as it really helps the channel reach more people who could benefit from clear, reliable information. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest updates on pensions, retirement, and personal finance. Until next time, take care, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next video.